Hi, guys. Welcome back. And look who I have here with me. Hi, Whitney.
Hi, Adam.
Oh, man. So I'm so excited, guys. If you've been living under a rock and you don't know who Whitney is, Whitney Rose is from this season, the first season of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And it's been, wow, it's been explosive. It's been everything that we asked for from, our Real Housewives. But I mean, how are you feeling?
Well, I think, I'm feeling really great. I've loved the entire process. I think for our rookie season, Salt Lake City brought it. And I think it is exactly what we needed for 2020 because we wrapped right before the pandemic hit. So I think we were all ready for something that was unrelated to COVID. And, for all of us not ever being on a reality show, I think we brought it. It's
No,
very
I totally agree with you. And I think that you just made a really good point about it not being related to COVID and the pandemic. It's kind of unfortunate that a lot of the other housewives had to film during COVID, and we see them with their masks, and it makes it a little bit strange.
Yeah. It is strange to watch, but at the same time, it's like that's our reality. That's how we're living our lives right now. And so I'm just grateful we didn't have to deal with that with our first season. Because that would have been, I think it would have spoiled the amount of excitement and fun for us, because we wouldn't have been able to go so big in our first season.
I agree. And aside from your obviously killer dance moves and everything else that we get to see from you on the Salt Lake City Housewives, I asked you to come on here because I feel like there's so much more that we don't get to see from you, because obviously this is an ensemble cast and we get to kind of see little tidbits of you and your persona on the show, but there's so much that we're missing out on. Like, you're a very successful businesswoman, and I mean, just things that obviously there's not enough time in the episodes to showcase. With that being said, I wanted to know a little bit more about you, and if there's anything that you would think that maybe we don't get to see from you on the show.
Well, exactly what you said. I am a business owner. I started my own skincare line just about 5 years ago. It's called Iris and Bow, and it wasn't featured at all in season 1. And that was hard, but also fine because we were focused on my journey with my dad right now. But yeah, I work my ass off. I mean, can I swear?
Yeah.
I didn't just throw up some products. Like, I took my time and researched and worked with the lab and have created a phenomenal product that's helping so many people. And we're taking off. I mean, it's been quite, like, without even any exposure on the show, I've been growing. We're getting into some bigger brands like Ipsy and some other things I can't talk about yet. So yeah, I hustle. I own my own business. There's so many layers to me, as you've seen. Like, my family life wasn't even shown, and I have a very dynamic family. So Justin's 18 years older than me. I have 3 stepsons that are really close to my age. So it's fascinating because we have Justin, who's in one generation, then me and my stepsons, my oldest stepson is only 5 years younger than me. So 28, 25, 22. And then Justin and I have 2 little kids together, 10 and 7. And our family, we do everything together. We're very active people. So we didn't really get to see that side of my family either. And I'm a grandma.
Wow. There really is so much to this dynamic.
No. There's a lot going on in Salt Lake City that people probably don't realize how progressive we are here. So yeah, I have twins that are my stepkids through my middle son's marriage. So he's not the biological father, but he's raised him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and you made a really a great point at the beginning of this. You said, the show is really showcasing a lot of your relationship with your father, because there are a lot of people out there who can relate to this. They can relate to what you're going through. And I think that's one of the great things about the Housewives shows and the franchises, because when we see the different housewives, we don't want to just see sometimes like somebody's cheating on somebody or we want to see substance. And this is a real thing that you and your father and your family are going through and have gone through. And you could be helping so many people. Yeah. And still going through. I think I saw an Instagram live, and I don't want to, bring up anything that you don't want to talk about, but I think I saw an Instagram live where you said that it's been a little bit since you've spoken with him. So it's just,
it's really sad because and you'll learn more about this at the reunion, which we just filmed, and this definitely was a topic that came up. But yeah, my birthday was in September, and that was the last time I've spoken to my father or seen him. And prior to that, he had been doing so well. He was our COVID buddy, so he would come over to our house a lot. And I don't quite know what changed, but I do know this: addiction is a freaking bitch. And it's a lot harder than what people realize, because it's not always just about the drug. It's about what the drug is masking or numbing, or what's really going on underneath the surface. And unfortunately, I think that's the biggest struggle, is identifying what those triggers are and working through those.
Well, and again, I just want to emphasize too, I think that you might not even have realized, by putting yourself on the show and kind of having this as a main part of your storyline, how many people can relate to you and that you're helping by just even being vocal and talking about it. So I think that, it takes a lot of courage to talk about what's going on in your family. And I mean, mind you, myself, my fiance, your friends, my friends, I think we all have people and know people who struggle with this. So it's something we can't just sweep under the rug, or, it needs to be talked about. So I think you're brave for that. And we commend you.
And honestly, my dad, the reason I'm like so upset that he's not talking to me, one, his health, but two, like, he should be celebrating how brave he was to share and be so vulnerable. Because I mean, as you've seen in previous episodes, he opened up his therapy session to the camera.
Right.
And like, a lot that wasn't even shown, like, it was deep. Like, I'm very proud of him. So thank you for that, because I almost didn't share it because I didn't want to exploit my father. But he was like, no, Whitney, like, this is a big issue. Let's talk about it. And he wanted some sort of accountability to get through it. So I'm proud of him. And I'm glad we've been able to, like, really, I'm glad it has touched people, because that was really scary and it felt like a huge risk to take.
Well, I'm glad you took it. And, again, I think we're all proud of him in that sense of just putting himself out there, and you guys sharing this. And like you said, that had to have been a hard decision. But since we're talking about making these tough decisions and obviously opening your life up to the cameras, you made another great point at the beginning of this, having your rookie season for a bunch of ladies who weren't so familiar with being on reality television. At first, it had to be, can I use the word strange, having cameras and a production crew in your face all the time? I mean, that would be different. Absolutely.
It's like, because you're trying to live your normal life, how you would normally do it, but you have 13 people staring at you. Like, it's different. But what's fascinating is how quickly it's like it all goes away, and they're just part of they're just part of the family, or part of like your life. And in fact, when they leave, it's almost oddly quiet, and you almost feel like alone or something. It's like a weird feeling. So in the beginning, it's strange, uncomfortable, awkward, because you're like overthinking everything. And it's like you're trying to have intimate conversations, but people are watching you and filming you. And then in the middle, it's like really annoying. You're like, will you just get out of my bedroom? Like, go away. And then at the end, you're like, it's so sad. Like, I'm almost, where is everyone?
Well, speaking, obviously, like you said, there's the beginning to this filming process and there's an end to this filming process. And the end is kind of an exciting part, because all of these moments, you're obviously going through this now. When I do these interviews, I ask some of the housewives and different people who have been on reality television, is it scary to rewatch all of these moments back, because you've lived it and now you're rewatching it, and it's like, has to be a little bit anxious sometimes. But for you, what has it been like, the aftermath of being on a reality show, and I guess just dealing with that?
So, especially after last week's episode, which was hard for me to watch in the beginning, and then I was able to, the more I watched it, laugh at it.
I loved you on last week's episode, by the way.
Yeah, because it's the first time that I was like messy, right? Like I drank way too much, but thank you, but that's not the point. But watching it and then instantly, so I get to watch it just right before the rest of the audience does. And then instantly after it airs on the East Coast, it's like a flood of opinions, comments. Like that's been the hardest thing to get used to, is how many people feel like they want to tell you what to do or how you should be, how you look, but on the flip side, it's like all these people rooting for you and loving you. And the Bravo family, like the Bravo fans are the greatest fans when they love you.
when they love you.
Yeah, but then, that's getting used to haters, which I really have been pretty lucky. I get a lot of love, but I have received hate. And that's been really hard for me to transition into, like, well, wait a second, this is my truth. It's not yours. Like not giving power to things that have no truth or mean nothing has been really the hardest thing to get used to. But from a day-to-day, like I have people stop me everywhere I go. So it's like I feel like I can no longer just roll out of bed in my pajamas and go down to Target and get what I need. It's like, oh gosh, I better comb my hair. And it's being recognized everywhere. Like when we were in New York, I probably can't. We filmed in New York. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
No, everyone knows that before production crews changed that. Yeah. That's public.
So we went to New York and filmed the reunion, and I was walking down the street in New York, and it's pretty empty. And I was speaking to my husband, and someone came up to me and was like, and I had glasses, mask, hat on, and someone came up to me and said, "Are you Whitney Rose?" And I was like, "How did you know?" "I heard your voice." So my voice is getting me recognized a lot more than even my looks. It's crazy.
Which has to be somewhat, intense and exciting. But, I think this is fun. This is obviously a new chapter in your life. And, going back to what you pointed out at the beginning, there's so much more to your life than what was featured on the show. That's why I'm really rooting for a second season, because like you said, you have this interesting dynamic with your husband, and you're a grandma, and you have stepchildren that are like 5 years younger than you. I really hope some of these things, like you didn't, and this is no shade, because I've spoken with Lisa Barlow a few times, and I think she's absolutely a sweetheart, but you didn't go through and be like, Iris and Bo everywhere and kind of just put your brand out there. So it's going to be nice to see different dynamics, hopefully, if we do get to see you guys again.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because even though Iris and Bo is like one of the biggest things in my life, I spend most of my time on Iris and Bo. I also wanted people to understand like who I am and like get behind me as a person and not as like a sales agent.
Right. Well,
and that I didn't mean that as shade either.
No, of course.
Kind of,
but I mean, for all of us who are pretty curious, because again, like we talked about this at the beginning, you're a successful businesswoman. Now your brand is growing and growing, and I'm sure this platform absolutely helps, even though you weren't like a sales agent for it, like you said, no shade. But for all of us who are wondering, was there a certain inspiration or reason that you started this line, like something that really just kind of kicked you off?
Yeah. So I have been into skincare since I was a teenager, because I have, even though I get a lot of compliments on my skin, it's because I take care of my skin. I have very difficult skin. I'm really dry. I get eczema around my mouth, and I have melasma. I've covered it up with makeup today, but melasma is just dark spots on your face. And I was in and out of treatments using high-end skincare, and it wasn't working. And so it really started like in my young 20s, I just started really like researching and figuring out, okay, these products are working, why? And then I just had this crazy idea of I started cocktailing my own products, like going to the health food store, getting stuff. And I just thought, if I can change my own skin and I was seeing my skin improve, then I can probably really do this.
All right, I like that. And it's honestly finding a solution for a problem of your own. I think that is what concocts the best and sometimes the most successful businesses.
Yeah. And my biggest passion was to, once I started learning about what's working and what's not working and learning about being natural, and there's such a stigma around natural. I think people don't realize that it's like natural doesn't work, right? But truly, to change your skin, you have to feed it the nutrients and hydration that it needs without all of the harsh chemicals, dyes, bleaches, fragrances, things like that. So I really found like a niche in like delivering results with natural and allowing people to cocktail their own regimen.
You know, I mean, I know this is a little bit off topic and we are on a little bit of a time limit, so I don't want to keep too much of your time, but there is a YouTuber, I don't know if you know who he is, but his channel is called Skincare by Hiram, and he reviews these different skincare lines. I think he has about 5 million or so subscribers, and when he goes on, they just get blasted out, and he would be one of the, I mean, a perfect person to just reach out to and just have him like see your product and do a video. It would get millions of views. I think he would be more than happy to do it, especially for a current housewife. Just throwing that out there. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Do you know him?
Well, my fiance knows him. So after this, I'll message you on Instagram and maybe we can reach out to him and see if we can't get him to do a video. I think that would be really cool. But
yeah, I love that. And there's one more, I know we're short on time, but one more key point that I wanted to put in about my line is I kept the price point affordable. Like when I set out to do this, I was like, I'm going to do whatever I can to keep this affordable for the average person.
Well, I think that's important. And I'm so happy that you at least, I mean, took some time to come on here and talk to me about your business and things that we don't really know about you from behind the scenes or that we don't get to see. So I thank you for that. And I just had a few more questions for you, if that's okay. And then I promise I'll let you go.
No, I'm totally fine. I have another 15 minutes.
All right. I just wanted to know that you talked about a hard topic at the beginning of the season, and it was about being excommunicated from the LDS church, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, my fiance used to also be Mormon. We have a 10-year age gap, and obviously he is gay, so that kind of played into certain things too. He wasn't excommunicated at all, but he was even talking to me about that must have been such an interesting thing for her, and it had to have been hard. What was it like coping with that?
Yeah, so here's the truth about it is that I actually haven't been excommunicated, but my husband was. I actually asked to leave the church and I got denied. And all that means is that my records, like my paperwork, be removed. Again, we dive more into this on the reunion, so I don't want to share too much, but it was painful because I had committed my entire life to the church. I didn't have sex. I didn't drink. I didn't do all of these certain things. I wore modest clothing. You know, at a young age, the time where you're supposed to be like having fun and breaking the rules. And I didn't. I stayed the course and was very devout to the church. And when I decided, oh, I want to take a step back, and no, like everyone was like, okay, then you're done. Meaning my ward family, your husband will understand what that means. It's like your community, right. My family, my friends, I had to start over. And all just because I was challenging what I believe. I wasn't challenging anyone else. It was what I believe and where I'm at in my life. And that was hard because I didn't feel heard. I felt like I was just being judged and thrown away. Even though I was the same person, you know, I was still not like, I was still acting and behaving in the way, well, until Justin came on the scene. This was happening before I met Justin. I had been challenging my belief system since I graduated high school, to be honest. So, you know, then I met Justin and we had our hot romance, you know, and that broke a lot of rules. And, you know, there's one thing I want to get out there because I get a lot of hate for this. Just because I'm admitting that I cheated and had an affair doesn't mean I condone it. I'm just owning my story. right? And so the church, that was the pivotal moment for Justin. When that happened, he was excommunicated, and we just felt like just thrown away.
Okay. So this doesn't, I mean, obviously this is not an easy journey. And I mean, this sounds intense. And we see even your cousin right now, part of her main storyline is just dealing with trying to navigate how to, I guess, get out of this belief system of just trying to keep everything prim, proper, and be the perfect Mormon. So yeah, it definitely seems like it has its challenges, and it's nice to see a franchise, honestly, who explores like the religion aspect. And honestly, it just blows my mind. I didn't grow up in a church at all, but again, like I said, my fiance grew up Mormon, so just hearing how people have to go through these different challenges and what's expected of you and how much the church really controls certain things, it's fascinating to me. But
well, I think that the thing that people don't realize is that being Mormon isn't just like showing up to church on Sunday. It's a lifestyle choice, because you're expected and asked to do certain things and not do certain things. There's rules. So it's, imagine like you walk your entire life since you're a little kid, your parents and your church tell you the sky is purple. So you believe that when you look at the sky, it's purple. I see purple, it's purple. And then one day you step outside and you're like, wait a second, I think the sky's blue. Like I see blue. And then they're telling you, no, it's purple. So it's like a mindset, right? It's a wiring, it's a programming. And watching Heather go through it on TV, it's like she's just trying to rethink and reprogram herself of how she views herself, the world, and her family. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, I thought that was a great analogy. Yeah, I again, I think that there's a lot of challenges here, but that's what makes this a fascinating show to watch, not at the expense of anybody going through hard times, but just these are things that maybe I can't relate to this, but just like you with your storyline with your dad that I could relate to a lot more, you know, again, my fiance can relate to Heather's story. So it's just, I think all of you have these different storylines that we can all relate to in different ways. And that's the beauty of the Housewives franchise.
Yeah. And I think it's the beauty of being human. We all have something that we can find in common.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
And, you know, speaking of Salt Lake City, and I guess less about the Housewives, obviously you are now viewed as kind of an ambassador for your city. And people look at you like they associate, a lot of people, especially Bravo fanatics, and maybe even somebody like me, when first time I ever go to Salt Lake City, Utah, I'm going to be like, oh, Whitney, Meredith, like you think about, we're going to think about you guys. So how does that feel, I guess, to be considered an ambassador for your city? And I mean, does that have any weight to it? Or are you just like, it's okay?
No, I think I love it because I'm born and raised here. And I'm proud to show the world what Utah's really about, because there is much more than just the Mormon church. But as you can see, the Mormon church still runs my daily life, right? Or has an impact, doesn't run it, but has an impact. I'm proud to own Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City has so much to do here. It's like fabulous. We have all 4 seasons. We have a nightlife. We have great food coming on the scene. There's really something for everyone in Salt Lake City, and I'm proud to represent that.
What is one of your favorite things, would you say, to do, or for anybody who'd be visiting Salt Lake City? Like, what would one thing be that you would recommend for us?
Absolutely. I mean, if you are into the snow, you have to hit the slopes, or at least go up and just have like a pre-ski day where you just go sit in the bar and watch people ski, because there's something magical about the mountains here. And downtown Salt Lake City, like you have to check out Temple Square, like because that's the headquarters and it's the kind of the ground zero of Salt Lake. We're on a grid system, so everything starts at the temple and goes out. So you have to walk around Temple Square and then go get a cocktail at our speakeasy. It's called The Rest, and it's under Bodega, and it's a great experience. Again, or go to White Horse and they have it's called bar roulette. So they have a mixologist that will ask you about yourself and do this little psychology with you and then go make you a cocktail based on what he learned about you, he or she. So there's a lot of fun things like that I would say go to the temple, but then go get a cocktail.
Wow. You sold me on it. Honestly, it sounds like a great city to come visit. And
yeah.
I love the fact that there's somebody that makes a cocktail based off of your personality. Hey, listen, if we ever come to Salt Lake City, we're definitely going to be hitting you up because it sounds like you know all of the best things to do. And I honestly, you just sold me. Aside from the skiing thing, though, I've went snowboarding one time and I flew off the side of the mountain. So I'm lucky to be here talking with you. I don't think I'll ever do that again.
Yeah, well, what if I told you I could take you to an amazing spa on the slopes?
Whoa!
And we could go watch the skiers and snowboarders, get a massage, and have some food and cocktails.
I will be there. Just tell me a time and I will book my plane ticket when we're, I guess, not in a pandemic. But
yeah, maybe next year.
Yeah. And hey, listen, if you ever come down to Palm Beach, I will show you not the slopes, but some of the best beaches.
Okay. I'm going to hold you to that.
All right. And Whitney, again, I appreciate you so much for coming. I always like to end these interviews off in a positive note, not like anything about this has been negative at all. But is there one thing, I guess, off the top of your head, or maybe even on your mind right now, that you are looking forward to most for this new year, for 2021, especially after just an insane 2020?
Yeah. Oh, positivity. Like positivity and love. I'm hoping that we can all look forward to some change. I hope that, I feel like 2020 was so hard and so many people struggled with anxiety, depression. It was toxic, negative. I'm hoping we can find something positive in this year.
I love that. I think that's a great answer. And honestly, again, just like so many other things about you, I think that we can relate to. That's something that we're all looking forward to this year, is just positivity and a new year. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a beautiful year. And with that, I want to say to you, Happy New Year. And I thank you so much for coming on here. And for anyone, again, living under a rock, can you at least tell us where we can find your skincare line? Yeah,
irisandbeau.com. And Beau spelled Beau. But if you go to my Instagram page, the link is in my bio.
All right. And I'll also put that in the link for this video. And I know that you have places to be and people to see. So I wanted to, again, thank you so much. And I just appreciate you for jumping on with me, Whitney. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you too, Adam. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Hey, bye.
Bye. All right, guys. And that was Whitney Rose. And she was amazing, absolutely beautiful, and honestly vulnerable, sharing her story with us the way that she did, especially on national television. And her father's story. I think there's something to be said about that. And that was super special. Guys, for any of you who sent in super stickers, I just didn't want to bring them up during the interview, but thank you to Muriel. Thank you, Hermione, for the super sticker. And also thank you to Dana. I appreciate you guys. It's very sweet of you guys. And thank you guys for showing support. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. Love you guys so much. Happy New Year. And we'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Bye, 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 bye.